The Burrage Sports Show.
Yo, what's up, everybody? We are back, the Burrage Sports Show. I'm one of your hosts, Mike B, and I'm here with my son,
Mike Burr.
Mike Burr is in the building, and our super producer, April T, is on the ones and twos. We're going to get right into it. You know how we do on this sports podcast. We just go right into sports, and there's a lot going on, especially in the NBA. We're going to start off with the news of the day. As of this podcast, James Harden wants to leave the Houston Rockets, and also Russell Westbrook want to leave. James Harden wants to go to the Brooklyn Nets. Westbrook is being rumored that he might end up somewhere on the East Coast, maybe the New York Knicks. Mike B, you got to holler at us about that.
Yeah, let's start with James Harden. Now, I want to start this by saying I would like to see him in Brooklyn. I think that would be crazy, obviously, with the amount of talent they have. But I don't think it's going to work. If they're trying to win a championship, basketball is still only played with one basketball.
Okay.
You can't have three ISO scorers. They all want 30 shots a night. They all want their 30 points. I just don't see it working unless one of those guys takes the Chris Bosh role. If one of those guys says, hey, I'll be the third option, I'll let the other two guys eat. And who's going to do that? I can't see any one of those guys doing that. It would be fun to watch. I would love to see it, but I just don't know if it would work in the playoffs if you're trying to win a championship.
But please note that this is also coming from Mike Burr is a big-time Lakers fan, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, it could be a little haterade, could be a little fear. You know, I've been hearing that, and I think you're right, though, because it is one basketball. And I think if Harden's going to make that move, so you're going to give up being a franchise player in Houston, then you might as well say, okay, I'm the man here in Houston. This is my team. It's my town. They weren't looking to get rid of him. They say he's the guy requesting to be traded.
He turned down $50 million a year.
Right. So, right. I think they said he might be the first $500 million man in the NBA, right? So if you're going to turn down that much money, then you might as well defer. And what I mean by that is, so you that means you're okay financially. You had to check your ego because you're giving up your franchise and you're giving up the most bread in the history of the NBA. So you might as well say when you come to the team, hey, man, I came here for a reason, and I will go to the only person I think that is the antidote to LeBron James, and that's KD. Kevin Durant, and I would say, KD, this is your team. Whatever you want, whatever you need, I got you. If it's defense, rebounding, becoming a better passer, that's why I'm here. That's why I gave up the bread. That's just my philosophy.
Yeah, and I agree. If Harden does that, I mean, obviously the talent is there. They're gonna be right in the top of the league, but I just don't realistically see that happening. All three of those guys obviously have their egos, and they deserve to. And they all, just the way they play, they're all isolation, one-on-one basketball players. So, like you said, if Harden decides to defer, play the Chris Bosh role, play the Draymond Green role, take that back seat, of course it will be amazing. And as a fan, I want to see it happen. I mean, I think it will be amazing just to see those three guys. But in reality, I just don't see that happening.
But why give up so much and not be willing to make that sacrifice? I mean, that would be a whole lot of ego. You give up your franchise, give up the bread, then you come to the Brooklyn Nets, and then you still want to be the man, and you still want it all to be your franchise. You might as well stay to Houston. I mean, that wouldn't make sense, especially because, hey, let's be honest, KD is better than you. So I don't know, man. I think if he does it, we might see him acquiesce a little bit, and we might see him be that more dimensional player that they need instead of the ISO dribble, pound. And let's give him credit, one of the most prolific scorers of all time.
Yep.
I mean, he created a move. It's a travel, the step back 3-point shot, but that's his creation. He opened up the league to that. You got to give him a lot of credit. He's a prolific scorer.
Now, as one of the best scorers, if James Harden still wants to be James Harden, he can still get his numbers and win the championship. It's not going to be in Houston, obviously. But what he should do, if you can't beat them, join them. Come to the Lakers. Bron, AD is a much better fit. You know, at this point in his career, Bron will let him take 30 shots a night. You still got AD with the pick and roll. LeBron could be the facilitator. That's a much better fit for him. Come to LA.
Dude, to be
Prove my point, what I said earlier.
Exactly. And to be honest, LeBron, you got to give him credit. He's so great. I think he can make it work with anybody. So that, I mean, as far-fetched as that sound, the Lakers are the type will try to make that move. And when the players play with the king, they fall in line. So I think that would work. It wouldn't even be fair. It would be kind of like when KD joined Golden State. It just wasn't fair. Mm-hmm. If the king was able to get Harden along with AD, it wouldn't even be fair. You could just give him the championship at the beginning of the season.
Yep.
So what do you think about Westbrook? And I'm just saying if, as of this podcast, guys, we don't know, but we're just going hypothetical, what we've been hearing the most, that Westbrook might end up with the New York Knicks or somewhere in the East. What do you think about Westbrook if let's say he did go to the Knicks?
You know, I was thinking about that, and then, I mean, it'll be more the same. They'll be exciting. They will make the playoffs, but they wouldn't be able to beat any of those top-tier teams in the East. I think it's only one place where a guy like Russell Westbrook, a guy that has all the talent, has the work ethic, but just can never get over that hump so far in his career. I think it's only one team he could do that at.
Where?
The Miami Heat. Imagine Russ in that system with those vets, with the accountability they have, the team unity, the fire they play a similar style. And I think that's the only place that could handle Westbrook, because his problem is, you know, he has a reputation for not being clutch, but it's not like other players when they're not clutch. It's he tries to do too much. He doesn't shrink in the moment. He tries to do too much in the moment.
True.
So I think having Jimmy Butler, Iguodala, Haslam, you got Pat Riley, you got Spoelstra, they could have the community, the team, and you wouldn't want to play them in a 7-game series.
Yeah, you got Lonzo Mourning too in that office too.
Yeah,
you champion.
Yeah, I think that's the only team, the only franchise, and maybe others could, but he needs to go somewhere with veteran presence, with his Hall of Famers and championships, just so to handle him and his energy.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that you mentioned the East Coast, because according to various sources, including The Athletic, the Rockets have discussed a trade with the Wizards involving a potential swap of Westbrook and fellow All-Star Ball.
Wow. Well, the Wizards Westbrook would be miserable, because now, let's be honest, Westbrook, no matter what you think of him, he's been with teams that win. A team, you know, OKC, he's been to the finals. OKC, he has made it to the Western Conference Finals. They perennially made the playoffs, even though him and Kevin Durant, technically they underachieved. Houston, playoff team. Now you go to the Wizards, you're not going to be anywhere near the playoffs. You're just not going. So
I mean, I think he'll be good enough to take them to the playoffs, but because it would be him and Bradley Beal, but I mean, you're not getting past the first or second round. You know,
I won't even say second round. The East has improved drastically.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the wrong situation. Like the Knicks, the Wizards, you know, because I think Russ is good enough to win a championship being that first or second option, but he needs to go to a place with a good system, with good coaching, and with other stars that could hold him accountable and that he could hold accountable. And so the Wizards, that would just be it would just be nothing special to watch.
Yeah, and then like I say, and if he did go to the Knicks as well, he'll average another triple-double, because he's going to get his stats.
Yeah.
The same with Washington, and that's a testament to him. No matter what you think of a player, to average a triple-double for a season, not once, not twice, but 3 times, you are a flat-out baller. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer and the most athletic point guard over a span of time that we've ever seen. You could maybe think of some other point guards, but Maybe they had a season here, but over a career, there's no point guard as athletic as Russell Westbrook. So, like you say, you got to give him credit because he does too much at times, and if he could just rein it in, but that's not his personality. But if he ever just takes 2 gears down, he'll be dangerous. But if he goes over east, like you said, to Washington, and then the biggest rumor is the New York Knicks, he's not going to win. I'm sorry. Yeah. Stats though, he might have another triple-double season, but he will not win, and I don't know how happy he'll be. Okay, we'll talk about CP3. CP3 is now part of the Phoenix Suns. So now you have the young fella Ayton, the big man. You have the most lethal non-center in the league among the young players, along with maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo and Devin Booker. And now you got the vet, crafty, perennial all-star CP3, who played excellent last year at point guard. What do you think about that?
I think it's a good move for the Suns. I think Devin Booker can learn a lot from CP3. It'll take a lot of the playmaking pressure off of him. He'll be able to play off the ball more, come off of screens. CP3 and Ayton is going to be something serious to watch too. That pick and roll is going to be nice. So I think it makes them, we saw what they could do in the bubble. They got hot, went undefeated. So I think this definitely makes them a playoff team. I don't know if it makes them good enough to beat the Lakers, the Warriors, the Clippers, the Nuggets. I don't know if they're that level yet. We'll see how Devin Booker and Ayton develop because it's going to be on them. But it does put them in that conversation. They'll be in the playoffs, and CP3 will definitely teach Devin Booker a lot about the game.
Yeah, and give Monty Williams a lot of credit. Their coach, former player. He's really, tapped in with him and built a rapport with Devin Booker, who's a bona fide franchise guy. So they're trying to make some moves to give him more, and their confidence is going to be sky high. They were the best team in the regular season during the bubble. Mm-hmm. They were undefeated. They didn't lose a game. Devin Booker dropping game winners. So they're coming into the season. They're going from like boys to men, because they're a younger team, but now they're going to have a little more swag about them. They're kind of progressing the way I saw Denver progress. They start making the playoffs, had some success, and then this season their swag was totally different. They were like, okay, we're not just happy to be here, we're here to win. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what Phoenix is going to do this season now. You got CP3. They had the success in the bubble. You got a great coach now that relates. So now you're right. I see them on the rise. I think they're going to be a playoff team or very close, and they're going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. The only downside, they did have to give up Oubre and a first-round pick. And, on the other side of this trade, I think, Sam Presti, he's doing a great job of rebuilding. I mean, he dumped Westbrook's contract, Paul George's, and now CP3's. He got like 100 draft picks now. And he got some young players still. You still got Gilgeous Alexander. Now you got Oubre. They just got Danny Green. You still got Steven Adams. So the Thunder are going to be rebuilding. But I think the Suns did it. They're trying to win now. They know they want to keep Devin Booker happy, and they want to get a chip. So they have to give up some of that young talent. But I think it'll work out for him.
Yeah, and what Percy did is doing in Oklahoma City. He's kind of doing what Boston did 4 or 5 seasons ago, and it manifested for Boston. They were in the Eastern Conference Finals because Danny Ainge just had pick after pick after pick after pick. He drafted well, traded some, and now they're a bona fide, East championship contender. So they're going to have, a whole lot of picks. Danny Green, they know his contract will be gone. I don't know how long they're going to keep Adams, but they're setting it up to just have a youth movement. They even got rid of Schroeder. Schroeder is a Laker now.
Yeah.
So even Schroeder, they didn't want to kind of negotiate and try to re-sign him because he's on the last year his deal. So they let Schroeder go to the Lakers. So they're definitely trying to do what Boston did. They just realized, hey, we had a great run last year, but it's not going to be good enough for us to win it in the West. So we might as well scrap it all, keep a few of our young assets, get a ton of first round picks and second round picks, and let's try to build it up organically. And maybe of course they're gonna do some trading of those picks occasionally and whatever, like the Boston Celtics did.
Yeah, the future is looking bright for the Thunder as well. They it's gonna be a couple years to rebuild, but they definitely have the draft capital to do it.
Yeah, and then it's a lot more trades going on. We won't go through every one just for the sake of time of the podcast, but let's talk about one more. Jrue Holiday now is in Milwaukee. So Milwaukee dealt a lot of guys. They're willing and dealing because they have to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo. They're a small market. Normally, for a long stretch since like the 80s, Milwaukee wasn't on television. A little bit with the big dog Glenn Robinson, a little bit with Ray Allen when they had them. But other than that, they were kind of in and out. So now they have a bona fide superstar, box office, 2-time MVP, potentially, based on his age, his talent, his upside, the best young player in the NBA. You got to try to keep him so when he hits prime and gets a consistent mid-range and a little more extended jump shot, and he'll be literally uncheckable. So they're trying to make some moves. What do you think about that? Jrue Holiday in Milwaukee. Now they got rid of, I think, who did they get rid of? George Hill.
Yeah, so overall, in the two trades, so the big gains they got were Jrue Holiday and Bogdanovich.
Right, yeah.
But they gave up DiVincenzo, Ilyasova, George Hill, and Bledsoe. So that's kind of the trade there. And I gotta be honest, I do think they got better with these trades. And this was a direct response to when they asked Giannis about a week ago. They said, will he resign? And he said, it depends on what they do. So I think they, that sent the front office in panic mode. They started making deals. And I think they got a little bit better. I think Jrue Holiday's a dog. Bogdanovich is a dog. But, they still don't have his Scottie Pippen, his Dwayne Wade, his Kobe to his Shaq. It's not.
What about Middleton? Middleton is supposed to be his Scottie Pippen. And Middleton, give him credit. He actually did step up in the playoffs during the bubble.
Yeah, but I don't see it because these teams in the East, we look at what Miami was able to do to them. Boston is going to come back stronger. Philly just got a new GM. They're going to try to make some moves. They're going to try to come back stronger. Now you got to deal with Brooklyn, too. They might, at the least, they going to have Kyrie and KD, and they may even have James Harden. So when you look at the other teams in the East, okay, you got Jrue Holiday and Bogdanovich now. They could both hoop. But Bledsoe could hoop. DiVincenzo is a young hooper. So it's like you got better for right now.
They got better. I think I would rather take Jrue Holiday and Bogdanovich than George Hill and those other guys. I mean, but like you say, they're still not superstars.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think they needed a blockbuster trade. You needed to bring, you see all these superstars on the market. If you could land a Westbrook or a Harden, I think that's the kind of deal they need to make. They need to bring another dog, bona fide, that level to hoop with Giannis. Because when you look at this team, I still don't see it to just that they're clearly better than these other teams in the East.
You know what? I have to agree with that. I really agree with that. And I think Milwaukee, I don't think they're done because they know who Giannis is and they understand potentially what they have. And I think they will be willing to wheel and deal and do whatever they can to get that one more guy. Because if you can get him to re-sign the next 3 or 4 years, your franchise is great in terms of a chance to not only win a championship, but that can equate to billions of dollars, literally, for your team and a local economy. I mean, that's just how much he's impacted that franchise.
Yeah, so they're going to do whatever they can to keep him. Because every team in the league is going to want him next season.
All right, so that's the NBA trades right now. It's going to be more going on, but as of the podcast, that's where we are. We got some more we could talk about, but those are pretty much the biggest ones. Next podcast, we said this podcast, but next podcast, we're going to critique the NBA draft, mostly all the top picks. Now, let's move on. I want to talk about the fans that are probably having the most fun in the United States of America right now. Fans in Los Angeles. they have to be partying, dude.
Yeah.
First, you get the Lakers. They come out the champions of the bubble. Then you get the LA Dodgers. Now the Rams are 6-3. So they might be a city, whereas they have, a team that won the 3 of the big major championships. What do you think the probability of that is, and how much fun do you think they got to be having in LA right now, Mike B?
Yeah, they got to be having some fun, and looking back in history, I mean, the Dodgers and the Lakers have been historically really good teams. So they've won championships in the same season quite a bit, even going back to the 80s. But I think for the Rams to complete the trifecta, I think they have a pretty good shot. We got to see who Jared Goff is. He made that one Super Bowl, and they, obviously lost. But he was young. It was only his second season or something, and he could throw. He can make all the throws. So, and they have a great creative offense. Got a strong defense. Obviously got Aaron Donald. So I think they got enough pieces. But with the craziness of the NFL playoffs, it's win or go home every night. And especially this season, it's even crazier with everything going on. So I think they got a pretty good shot. I would say, it's hard to say this early in the season.
Okay. And it'll be a great accomplishment because, and check this out. No team has ever won all 4 of the major sports, and that would be basketball, baseball, football, and we'll even say hockey. Major League Soccer really should be there, but we're not going to go there yet. But that's going to be part of a category. We're going to have a 5 major sport. Yeah. But no team other than only one city has ever won the 3 in a calendar year. And this was before the NBA existed, because I'm going to tell you how difficult it is. 1935, Detroit. They won Major League Baseball. They won the football championship. And they won the hockey championship. So out of the big 4, they're the only team that won 3 in like a calendar season, and that was Detroit back in 1935. So it's rare air, but man, wouldn't that be fantastic if you're an LA fan? They were already rocking because of the Lakers. Then they got that gift from the Dodgers. The Dodgers finally got over the hump, from the last 4 or 5 seasons, and finally got them a chip, a World Series. And now I think the Rams, they're in the hunt. They have a chance. They're 6-3.
Yep. And
defense does win championships. So that's a good thing. They're not just totally an offensive team or some gimmick team. They got a defense that can get hot enough to do it. So, man, they got to be having a lot of fun in LA right now. So shout out to all my LA fans, because it's got to be a lot of fun in that city sports-wise.
Yeah, it has to be. And on the other side of things, how long you think it'll take for Chicago to do that?
Well, the White Sox and the Cubs have potential.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks are iffy. At one point we were dominant. We won 3 out of 7 Stanley Cups or something like that. But then we fell off. On the Bears, we aren't even close. Let's be honest. We're not even close with the Bears. So baseball, we have a chance. Basketball, we're not even close. So it'll be a while. I give it, if we get lucky, within the next 15 years, for 3 of the 4 majors to get good, it would take about 15 seasons. Just because the Bears, the Bulls, they're not good right now. And the Blackhawks are kind of middling team, but we might have that L train series between the Cubs and White Sox. That's probably the biggest potential of something real, really crazy and fun, because both of those teams are good. The Cubs are kind of sliding the other way, but the White Sox are on the rise, man.
Yeah, you could definitely see that happening in baseball before any other sport. And yeah, that's a good point. For all four of those teams to be good at the same time, that would be pretty spectacular. It's like they take turns almost.
Yeah. So we need about 15 years. Super producer April, come on into this conversation. What you got for us in terms of hot takes on the ones and twos?
So things that are pretty much cracking right now is that, speaking of Major League Baseball, we have the first Asian American and Asian American woman to be general manager of a Major League Baseball team. So shout out to Kim Nick.
Nice.
And we also have the NBA draft is November 18th. We're recording this on a Tuesday, so it's tomorrow. That's super exciting. And we also have...
Isn't it going to be a virtual draft?
Yes, a virtual draft is going to be held at their headquarters in Bristol, Connecticut. It's going to be virtual, so that's going to be probably similar to what the NFL has, so we'll see about that.
Okay.
And then also we have a hot take. Drew Brees, unfortunately, suffered a collapsed lung and other type of injuries this past week. So the big question is it time for him to retire?
You know what, man? Yeah, because it's his lung and I think like his ribs. I would think if he just wants to come back to try to finish the season, because the way they were playing, they look like they might be able to get to the Super Bowl in the NFC. I mean, they were playing some really good football. So if he comes back, I think he's out for 3 weeks maybe. If they can hold on with Jameis Winston now as the quarterback, he might want to come back because he might get a shot for one more shot at the Super Bowl. But I think after this season, hang it up, dude. Just call it a day. So I could understand if he like, hey, we were playing great football with this team, you know, with Kamara and Michael Thompson, the way our defense has been playing. I might have one more shot at the Super Bowl. I've been playing this long. I might as well go for it. I could see that. But then after this season, I would hang it up. How much money can you have? How much abuse can you take? And he's not a big man. He's a small man. So maybe this is a sign. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You know, it's tough because, you know, it's the middle of a great season. They do have a real shot to win the Super Bowl. So if they can hold on with Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill at quarterback and stay in the playoff hunt and give them enough time to come back. But yeah, you gotta, if you're Drew Brees, you gotta start thinking about that. I mean, he is like 40, 41. And he's had a lot of accolades, a lot of records. And yeah, once you start getting like those rib injuries and a collapsed lung, that could be serious. And you know, you don't know how many more hits you have left. So, you know, it might be a good idea to hang him up.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, it's easy for us to say because we're not making, you know, $20-30 million a year. It's not easy to walk away from that money. But how much money do you need? I mean, it's relative to them. That's all I'm saying. So,
yeah, and then to end it more so on a happier note, the Miami Dolphins, the team to watch, they've won 5 straight, and they are 4-0 with NFL rookie Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, dude, all he does is win. I mean, since Alabama, I remember the game when they put him in. What was that, Jalen? What's the quarterback name for Alabama? He was
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts got hurt, and they had to just throw. No, he was a little off, just a little off kilter. So the coach made a radical move and put him in as like a freshman, and he just came in dropping dimes, and they won the national championship. And he hasn't looked back since. He's so accurate, and he's just a flat out winner, man. He's exciting. Along with Kyler Murray, man, this league is and Josh Allen and a lot of these young quarterbacks. This league is in some really good hands in the future.
Yeah, and you know, for years they were kind of the doormat of that division. Now with the Patriots kind of in a semi, you know, rebuild kind of situation, awkward situation, they beat some good teams. You know, they beat the 49ers. They beat the Rams, they beat the Cardinals, they beat the Chargers. So it's not like they're just beating up on scrubs. You know, Tua's come in, he's played well, doesn't turn the ball over. Looks like just like he did in college. Very accurate passer, can make plays on the ground as well. and they're beating some pretty impressive teams, and they have a real shot to win that division.
And you know another great thing about the Dolphins winning now, because if you watch them, they're having a lot of fun out there. They're flying around. It's not going to be hard to recruit players.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Players coming out of the league, 19, 20, 22 years old, and if Miami's good and they got some money and they're trying to draft you or pick you up via free agency, it's a lot of NFL guys that'll be like, oh, yeah, I love to live in Miami and play in Miami, And Florida's a football hotbed, so it'll be a lot of people right at home that they could pick up that wouldn't mind staying at home. And then it's young men from all over the world and all over the country, because it's mostly an American sport, that will have no problem living in Miami. So the city will help them recruit too if they start winning.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, man, we got to do it. Whew, it's going to be tough. So for all of our winners out there, and that's what we call our subscribers, or even if you're listening to the podcast or share it, or you're just discovering us, you are a winner. And if no one told you that, you've heard it from us today. You are a winner. But we have to do this because we are from the Chi, and we love our Chicago teams. We have to talk about the Bears. Oh, my goodness. Mike Burr, you got to ride on this one. It's a little painful for me to bring that up right now.
I mean, I don't know where to start. At the start of this week, Matt Nagy gave up play calling duties
against the Vikings. But let me give a little preference. We just lost 19-3 against the Vikings on Monday Night Football. Sorry, go ahead, Mike Burr.
And it didn't look any different. Offense still couldn't do anything. Nick Foles got hurt. Hope he gets better, but I think Trubisky is hurt too. So now I don't even know who the quarterback is.
Does it matter?
You're starting to get injuries on both sides of the ball, and it's just going downhill. But the good news is we might as well start the tank. Rest the defense. Rest all our guys on defense. Start the tank. It's a lot of good talent in this draft. It's a lot of good quarterbacks. Let's just go ahead and take. I think we've all seen enough this season.
Yeah, play a bunch of young guys and start doing some experimenting. You might as well. Just to give you little fun facts, we just lost our 4th straight game. What else? We mustered just 149 yards of total offense. For some teams, that's just like one guy. Nick Foles so far has thrown like 8 interceptions this season. But I like our kicker, Cairo Santos. He's been a bright spot. 14 consecutive field goals. So shout out to our kicker and our defense. They've been doing work. So I don't want to make it all negative. Roquan Smith, he leads the NFL in tackles for a loss. He's playing well.
He's on the field all game.
Yeah, so
but he's a dog. On the defense, yeah, if we for the positives of the season, I mean the defense has been playing outstanding. We got some real superstars on the defensive side. I mean, you look at Kyle Fuller, Eddie Jackson, Roquan, Trevathan, Keem Hicks, Mack. We got dogs on defense.
Yeah. And we got talent on offense. Cordero Patterson, he tied for the most kickoff return touchdowns in NFL history with number 8. Not for, a season or something like that. Most in history. He's been fantastic. He's been a perennial Pro Bowler. A lot of people don't know that. So it's not all negative. We got something good, from the Bears. But overall, as a team, it's been bad. It's been bad. Third downs, we were terrible. We can't run the football at all. So those are the negatives, but at least we did hit you with some positives because we are Bear fans.
Yep.
But that's all I want to say about that. We're not going to talk about that anymore. But hopefully the Bulls can come off the slide and get us a victory in our next game. All right. Super producer April, do you have anything else?
That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. That's wonderful. And you know what? I want to give us a little baseball. We don't do a lot of baseball on the show. We're going to do a lot more baseball coming into the next season. This was kind of a weird year, and we had just kind of started the podcast. But we got to give some shout-outs in baseball. The baseball season is over with. Dodgers, as you know, won the World Series, but they gave out their season awards, and the White Sox and Cubs was represented well. Shout out to first baseman of the White Sox, Jose Abreu. AL MVP. Yeah, let's give him a clap, y'all.
Yeah.
Let's give it up.
MVP.
Give it up. And to let you guys know, we are a little biased. We are White Sox fans. We don't hate on the Cubs per se, but we are a little slanted more to the White Sox. So we just want to give a shout out to Abreu for winning that AL MVP. Silver Slugger Awards for the White Sox. Now, for those who don't know, a Silver Slugger Award in baseball is when the managers and coaches, they pick like the best offensive player. And I kind of like it because it's not just stats. It's what you see with your eyes, how they impacted the game. The White Sox were represented well. Abreu, of course, he's going to win it because he was the AL MVP. Our shortstop, Tim Anderson, and our outfielder, Eloy Jimenez. All of them won Silver Slugger Awards. So that was awesome.
Nice.
In terms of Gold Glove Awards, Gold Glove Awards is basically for the best field and the best defense at each position. That's a positional one, and the White Sox and Cubs was represented well. For the White Sox, Luis Roberts, the center fielder, he won for the White Sox. Anthony Rizzo, the first baseman for the Cubs, won a Gold Glove. Javi Baez, shortstop, man, he's a wizard with that glove. He won a Gold Glove. And as a team, because the Cubs are a very good defensive team, they won like the team Gold Glove award. So shout out to the White Sox and Cubs. Got some end of the season award winners. But Abreu, who was Rookie of the Year about 6 years ago, now he's MVP. He's building up that Hall of Fame career. We had to give him some love on the podcast because he definitely deserved it, So that's a great thing. All right. So Mike B, got anything else you'd like to talk about?
That's it.
We're flowing. What about you, April T, super producer on the ones and twos?
That's it.
All right. So look. If you like our podcast, subscribe. You can find us on all social media. Please share with a friend. Get the word out there. Hit us up in the comments. We really want to hear from people in the comments because we talk about a lot of stuff. We want to hear your opinion. We want to hear what you have to say. We don't know it all. And we like to get a little, a nice back and forth going, So we definitely want to hear from our winners. And we hope you enjoyed the show. And that's how we do it, y'all. This was a good one. Again, we got the draft coming up, more NBA, more sports. We got a few surprises. Mike Burr, drop the beat.